Hey guys, it's Olga. Welcome to Backlog. Today we proceed to talk about project discovery in remote mode, and in particular we're gonna focus on discovery deliverables. Previously I shared with you my impressions and insights from the latest remote discovery. I told you how my team and I got prepared for the online sessions, what challenges we faced executing the workshops and how we survived them. Today I share the results, in other words the documents that made the discovery output. We will go through each particular document, see why it was created, how it was structured, what was inside and what it took to get it accepted by the stakeholders. So if you are interested, welcome on board. Before I jump to deliverables itself, let me remind you of our discovery objectives and milestones. So our remote discovery was all around the web content migration from one platform to another so that the client could save some money on licensing. The idea was to evaluate the volume, quality and complexity of the content before the migration. Also, the new platform had to replicate all existing workflows, business logic and support the key integrations with the third-party platforms and applications. In total, with the preparation, collaboration and analysis stage, our discovery lasted for 5 weeks. During the first 3 weeks, in addition to the online workshops with the stakeholders, our team also conducted the client ecosystem audit. In particular, we investigated the customer websites, backend systems and made a deep dive into the client knowledge base. As the result, by the end of collaboration stage, we collected enough information and proceeded to the analysis stage where we had to process all the input and produce the deliverables that would align the project scope, timeline and budget. In particular, our deliverables had to answer the following questions. What functional areas are in scope and what is out of scope? What capabilities are missing in the new platform compared to the existing platform and what it would take to replicate them? What are our recommendations on processes automation and optimization? What features will go as a minimum viable product or MVP and what will be postponed for the future phases? What are the non-functional requirements? What are the key integration points and data flows in scope? What are the constraints and technical limitations of the future solution? What are the project timeline and milestones? Our assumptions, dependencies, potential risks and blockers. Finally, the resources and budget needed to deliver the scope within the defined timeline. In response to all those questions, we created quite an impressive list of deliverables, and the most interesting was their volume and structure. Our first deliverable was the project backlog that made over 600 items, and I have to say it was the largest one I ever created on the discovery stage. I have a significant experience conducting the discoveries worldwide, and I have to admit that the initial backlog is typically defined on an epic level. It makes 200 or 300 items and it grows as we build and enhance the solution during the implementation stage. That one was enormous from the very beginning. It included 7 tabs aligning the functional requirements, non-functional requirements, structural components of the website, web pages, access control matrix, integrations, and scope assumptions. Each epic contained a short description and a comment with the reference to a particular information source, such as, for example, the meeting minutes or the section of the customer knowledge base. Each epic also contained an assumption made by our team to justify epic estimation. I was so proud when I finally put it together. The problem was it is not enough just to deliver the backlog, it should be accepted by the client. And I can tell you, it was not an easy task in the remote mode. It took me 5 review rounds before they ensured the backlog covers every single feature and finally accepted it. The point was they were active users of the existing platform, they get used to it, it was enhanced through the years to meet all their requirements and they didn't really want to migrate to some new unknown platform, but they were forced to do it because of the license cost. Unconsciously, they resisted the change and it turned into tremendous amount of comments, corrections and questions from their side on every review round. On week 5 of the discovery, I stayed on the call with the stakeholders up to 2 a.m. just to push the backlog out of the door. I recall I was nervously checking my email 2 weeks after we closed the discovery just to ensure there is no new portion of comments came from the client. Our next key technical deliverable was the high-level architecture document that made about 30 pages. It was a product of long hours of collaboration between 2 architects from our team and the client architects. That document aligned the key design decisions: logical layer, integrational layer, network layer, front-end layer and data layer, software, workflows, solution constraints, potential blockers, risks and assumptions. Our architects spent days and nights polishing that document and verifying it with the technical guys from the client side, and it took even longer to get it accepted than it took to agree on the backlog. It was a great challenge for our architects, and I was lucky not to take an active part in that battle. Our third deliverable was an ecosystem audit report, and it made about 30 pages. It contained assessment scope, architecture and infrastructure findings, code analytics, performance metrics, and our recommendations for solution optimization and process automation. The most crucial part, it contained the feature comparison between the capabilities of the client's existing platform and the capabilities of the new platform. The new platform was way cheaper, however, it supported fewer features out of the box. It was similar to an experience when you change your luxury car to one from the economy segment. Yes, you save some money, but instead you have to compromise on comfort. The problem was the client wanted to preserve every single feature and still save some money. It took some time and effort to explain how expensive it would be to rebuild the new platform to provide the same experience they had with the old one. That part was so painful and controversial that we faced the risk the client would abandon the project. Luckily, we managed to agree and keep the balance between the scope and the budget. Talking about the budget, our next deliverable was the resource plan. That document was composed by our delivery manager based on the scope estimation. In other words, the team first estimated the backlog in man days per front-end and back-end layer, aligned the roles needed to deliver that scope, and provided their estimated workload. Based on that input, our delivery manager built the roadmap in sprints, aligning each corresponding phase, starting from initiation, ending to rollout, and calculated the budget. To facilitate further collaboration with the client, he calculated 3 different options, playing with the timeline, team composition, and adjusting the cost accordingly. At the end of week 5, we presented the final versions of the deliverables to the client and finally closed the discovery. That engagement was so exhausting that 2 architects took a week of vacation right after the summary meeting, and I took 2 weeks. That was my impression from my first project discovery in remote mode. Let me know if you had similar experience, and don't hesitate to ask your questions if you are currently in the middle of the discovery. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave your comments if this video was useful to you. Good luck and see you soon!